Hi, I would like to talk about SOLID principle. The term SOLID is an acronym for 5 design principles that has been proposed by Robert C. Merlin or Uncle Bob. These principles aim to improve software design by reducing the dependencies and increasing the flexibility. So let's break down what SOLID stands for. S stands for Single Responsibility Principle, O stands for Open and Closed Principle, and L stands for Liskov Substitution Principle. Interface Segregation Principle is I stands for, and Dependency Inversion Principle is D stands for. I would like to dive into each of these principles, SOLID. So let's dive into that. Single responsibility principle means a class should have only one and only one responsibility and reason to change. So why is that? When a class has multiple responsibilities, a change in one responsibility can affect the others. Imagine a report class that generates a report and sends it via email. If you need to modify how emails are sent, it should advertently break report generation. So what we should do, split the responsibility into two classes, report generator and email sender. Open and closed principle is the next one. You can see short it as OCP, open and closed principle. Software entities should be open for extension but closed for modification. Why is that? Directly modifying existing code can introduce bugs. A shape drawing program where adding a new shape means modifying a draw shapes method. Use polymorphism is a solution for this. Create a shape interface with a draw function method and implement it in different shape classes like circle, rectangle and all. So each shape subclasses will have the properties of the main shape class, and in that way the properties can be inherited, and we can call the draw method or by method overloading, and it is a polymorphism method, that is an OOPS concept, object oriented programming concept. The next one is Liskov substitution principle, or short for LSP. So Liskov substitution principle, or LSP, its objects of class superclass should be replaceable with objects of subclasses without altering the behavior of the program. So why is that? Violating LSP can lead to unexpected behaviors. Suppose you have a bird class with a fly method. A penguin class inheriting from bird would violating LSP because penguins can't fly. Redesign the hierarchy. Create a flight capable bird subclass for birds that can fly. The next one is interface segregation principle. A class should not be forced to implement interfaces it doesn't use. Why is that? Implementing unnecessary methods increases code complexity. A printer interface with methods like print function and scan function. A basic printer class shouldn't be forced to implement scan method. The solution for this is split the interface into smaller specific ones such as printable and scannable. This is what we should do for interface segregation principle. To follow segregation principle of interface, dependency inversion principle, or DIP, is a high level modules should not depend on low level modules. Both should depend on abstractions. Hard coded dependencies make the systems rigid and difficult to test. A payment processor class dependency depending directly on PayPal service class depend on an abstraction like a payment gateway interface, which can be implemented by PayPal service or any other payment service. So in short, to summarize, the solid principles means single responsibility, open or closed, Liskov substitution, interface segregation and dependency inversion serve as a guide to designing clean and maintainable code. By applying these principles, you can create software that is easier to adapt and scale. So it is very important as a full stack developer. You need to have these skills. You need to follow these solid principles. So let's go through that one more time. A single responsibility principle or SRP means definition is that a class should have one and only one reason, one responsibility, one reason to change. Open or closed principle is that software entities should be open for extension but closed for modification. Liskov substitution principle LSP means objects of superclass should be replaceable with objects of subclass without altering the behavior of the program. Interface segregation principle or ISP is a class should not be forced to implement interfaces it doesn't use. And dependency inversion principle is DIP. High level modules should not depend on low level modules. Both should depend on abstractions. So that's all. This is very important if you are developing. If you are a developer, you need to follow solid principles. So try to learn all those things in detail. So I hope this video was helpful for you. So stay tuned. Thank you. Thanks a lot.